Welcome back to the TheHighNotez channel, where I discuss numerous amount of topics, whatever's just going on in my brain, and me just speaking on a whole bunch of shit that I have no business speaking on. And for today's video, I want to talk about God. What is God? And what does it mean to you? And like what is it? Not what is. I mean, that's ridiculous to kind of. Anyways, it's like, now I'm like fucking blanking retardedly. Anyways, I just want to discuss what God means to not really everybody, but to the person like who's watching the video, like you as yourself. Because this is what I really want to drill into people, anybody who really watches my videos, is that you gotta separate yourself from everybody and realize the true individuality of yourself and how you think, and separating your ideas from other people and being able to form your own opinions about everything about the world, essentially, including God, including anything, because you cannot verify anybody else's ideas except your own, because I mean, you are you. That doesn't sound right, but case in point, like I'm not gonna, I'll take somebody else's opinions, but that's their experiences, and like they've gone, like, say for someone who's gone to church a lot, and that's a person who goes to church and listens to the Bible, reads the Bible, and hears people preaching, and they have different opinions or views it differently. Everybody has their own separate ways of viewing God, or really anything. Everybody has their own unique way of looking at a problem. Hopefully. Unless they're just, part of the fucking masses and can't fucking just divide their own goddamn conscience from everybody else and wants to have the same opinions and be like-minded as everybody. But anyways, that was a weird little tangent. Anyways, so what is God? And I feel like I have a lot of ideas, and I could kind of rant about this for a little while, but I guess I'll start off with the main idea I like to believe in is, actually, no, there's like a lot, because I could say God is love, like just the emotion of what love is itself, and that I could say God is everything. I could say God is the people around you and just everybody and their own mindfulness of themselves. I could say God is the voice in your head that tells you to do better. I could tell you God is, I don't know. If I had more time, or if I didn't fucking start this video with just by fucking throwing my phone up on a thing and just start talking and not even thinking about it, I maybe come up with a couple more ideas. But essentially, there's so many different things that could be God for any number of people, but for the base of really your normal everyday person, people want to think God is a man in the sky, or an individual who is a perfect being that knows right or wrong and is omnipotent and really just knows all and is our creator, so to speak. I don't really fall in line with that kind of thinking. I personally like to believe that God is you, and, well, my fucking next sentence is going to be you are God, but I don't like that caveat, or, I don't know, caveat's the right word, whatever. but you are God and God is you. And it kind of brings back, this is my own thinking. I don't fucking read books. I don't listen to podcasts. I mean, I do, but I like, all this is just my own information. I don't read whatever about any other religions. But my thinking and my theory is probably based out of a lot of previous philosophies and ideas of what it could be, like Buddhism or other amounts of bullshit that I can't be bothered to think about. Buddhism is just one of the things that's just always right there, because a lot of people tell me that. But it's definitely something that I hold my thought to, is myself being God and God is being me. As what I do, I don't really know where to go with that, because I'm not going to be like, my actions are heavenly, or my what I do is fucking divine. That's bullshit. I'm trying to say that, I don't know what I'm trying to say. Maybe that my soul is the same as everybody else's, because deep down everybody is the same, and people getting stuck on looks and character traits and all these outwardly things that are an expression, a unique expression of one's personality, or expression of the experience that they've gone through, and I don't know, something along those lines. And when you strip it all away of personality and experiences, what are you left with? And everybody's just the same deep down, in my opinion. And regardless of what we think, I think in childhood, when you're a baby, all of the little things that are in your environment is what form your ideas of how to go about the world and to think something of a certain way. And you can't quantify or really nail down specifically what it is that a baby might think or see, but I think it's in those critical years that people really start to develop. And it's like, just all the way up in your childhood is just really developing how you see the world. And it's the reason why children of parents who have these specific traits are more likely to be passed down, because like if a parent is lazy, the child is more likely to be lazy, because the child has witnessed the parent being lazy their entire life. Like things of that nature. And the reasons why people are the way they are. And that's why no matter what, you can always have a child being like their parent or not at all, because if the parent wasn't really there in the fundamental years, because it's not just like then you're 5 and all of a sudden you are thinking on your own. No, it's you are watching, maybe until you're fucking 20. It takes a long time for people to grow up, man. And it's until you really start to lean off of your parents, and when you start to become on your own, and then you start to implement all the things that you've seen that are deep down psychologically that you can't fundamentally change within a day or a week. And these are traits or habits that have been built upon year after year. And so you have to do things time and time again to help revise, renew, and change your habits. And so I truly believe that everybody's the same. It just takes just takes that time of your life to really form your thinking and the way you look at things. But back to the question, what is God? And it's really all of those ideas. I feel like God could be all of it. It doesn't really matter to give God a specific definition, because the idea of God is the idea of a betterment, a better version, an idea. But I mean, you can really take this any number of ways and really form your own opinions. But it's definitely a higher form. Yeah. And yeah, I don't know. I just want to keep talking, so I don't want to edit. I don't want to edit. I'm not going to edit. So what you see is what you get. One take. I don't even have a fucking outro, which I'm like, I don't know. I mean, this is just me spouting at the camera, so I don't know if I should care or not. But I'm just kind of talking, so I guess I should just try to get my fucking ideas together instead of just constantly talking. But yeah, the idea of God and people, like how I said God could be the people around you, is, I mean, people have such different ideas of how God influences their life. And I can't really give an example because I'm not fucking up to par in that yet. But I would definitely say the people around you could act as God because they could lead you to act in a certain way in whatnot, because you adapt to the people that are around you. Like, if you are around a bunch of know-it-alls, intellectuals, people who go to school, but they have like a crazy study habits, and you know, what are you bound to do if you hang around all those people? And what are you bound to think if they are in your mind and they are the example of how people are around you, because they create the world that you imagine? And it's really like the people around you create the world that you imagine, which is why you can never ever have a true good example of how the world is if you only take into consideration what other people think. And in the way of behaving, like how do you behave towards other people? If you're surrounded by a bunch of Christians who are wholehearted Christians and just are absolutely nice, treat everybody the same, try to give as much as they can, not expecting anything in return, what are you bound to do? You're more bound to just go about helping people, seeing the best in people, and not thinking differently when people have bad days. And it's really I can't fucking form words right now. But that's like the best way I can get it out. With that idea about how the people around you are God, you know? Which is why if you have this idea of yourself that you want to become, you You must surround yourself with the people who you believe are the best in you surround yourself with the people who you think are going to influence you the best in the way you want to become. And I would assume people don't willingly want to become bad people. But if you hang around people who are more ignorant to the world, who tend to be more selfish, maybe not selfish, but self-concerned around the people, like people, like a group mentality, people who act certain ways and create relationships within their group, and they interact specifically because they know how you're going to think, because you think similar to them, and they stay within that group, and you go out and these people start to act differently on outside people from that group because they know that they are not of consequence, because you're not going to see those people every day, whereas people in the group you are. And so they tend to act more selfish, as in towards the group. I don't know what the right word is, but to act more for the group inward than being more outward and helping, if that makes sense. And if you tend to hang around people who act for the group and maybe not for themselves and outward, then you're gonna tend to, even if you don't think yourself or want to be in that way, your habits, your underlying habits are gonna be more intertwined to act that way, because that's the people around you. And you tend to mimic the people you're around more, which is a cause for a lot of things, because those systems are always in place. So even if you're by yourself mostly and you don't even interact with groups as much, who are you really around? And you can't really call yourself a true loner unless you're a fucking person who's completely on their own and doesn't have a girlfriend, doesn't interact with their parents, doesn't have siblings, and doesn't have pets. Because even as much as, pets aren't really people, they are a great way of expending social energy, you could say, because, they're there around you and they're outside of your mind, I think. But that would be the best interpretation I got for that. And really, a saying, I am God and God is me, is really saying the behaviors I want to see myself are likened to the betterment of being having better behaviors and seeing myself in a better way, as how would God want me to act, right? And, to everybody, God, or to most people, people think of God as this savant, or this treats everything great. But that's also not true, because God is everything. God is love and God is hate. God is hate in the sense of, do you think of God as being angry? Does God get angry? If God is perfect in your ideal world, why would he ever hate, and why would he ever get angry? But that's not the case. Of course God can get angry, and of course God can hate. I mean, it seems as though we want to create this perfect version of maybe ourselves and view this as God. But that shouldn't be the case. It's more of how to act and how to improve, and what is the best way to deal with the situation to have the outcome of and just have an outcome where everything does turn out okay, and everything is, working together, I think. But, that's my idea of God anyways. And there's much more to that thinking that I can't really get out right now. Like, it would be nice if I could talk to somebody and like have it like a back and forth, so I can like expand upon this. Because right now I'm only going down this one path, and I can't really expand upon it because there's no one else to challenge. But anyways, if you enjoyed my thoughts, subscribe, like, and watch my other videos if you care. All right, have a good one. Peace.